That didn't feel good. Is your business kind of stuck? Are you hitting a profit kind of ceiling, or struggling to recruit, or there's just something that's just stuck? Does that sound right? Well, in this episode of the Business Amplifier podcast, we're speaking to Emma Steenson, the business coach. She's going to help you get unstuck. I'm Andrew Laws. This is the Business Amplifier podcast. This was a mistake. Oh. I've been running this business for a while now, and I'm pretty sure I've got it as far as I can, but I'm pretty pissed off, if I'm honest. There's something wrong. So my choice is, I think I'm going to have to quit. Is that the right choice? How much trouble am I in?
Wow. Okay, that's a fairly extreme response. Tell me more.
Oh, right. No, let's get into it. So, everyone, this is Emma Steenson, and we're going to talk about the things you need to understand if you're stuck in your business. And you may have noticed, dear viewers and listeners, that Emma was starting to pull along a coaching type thread there. And there's a good reason for that, which we'll come to later. But here we have three things that you must understand if you want to get your business unstuck. So, Emma, while I throw my pen across the table and hear it clank away, what is reason number one, or thing number one?
Thing number one. Well, the very first thing you need to do is to really get clear on your goals.
Okay.
Why are you doing this? Can you re-engage with your why? And go back to what got you started in the first place. So what brought you here before you got frustrated or before you felt like throwing in the towel?
This is really interesting because I meet a lot of business owners, and a lot of them have quite highfalutin reasons why they started their businesses. They want to change the world. They want to be the best thing that's on the South Coast, or whatever it is.
Okay.
But I'd also bump into a lot of business owners who started their business because they wanted to escape a crappy job they hated.
Yes. Common theme.
Oh, okay. So what sort of goals do those kind of people have? Because you can't, if the goal was to escape a terrible job, can you still use that goal to fall in love again with your current job?
Yes, or escape your own terrible self.
Escape your own terrible self. What a phrase. Brilliant.
Indeed. Yeah, I think it's about the why. I think quite often people, you start with a purpose. So whatever that is, financial freedom, or just the freedom to make your own choices, to be in control of your diary, to be able to do drop-offs and pickups if that's your thing, to be able to, I don't know, engage more in your sport because that's your thing, whatever it is. But quite quickly, you just get caught up in the doing. You just get sucked in. And then all of a sudden you're kind of chasing stuff, not just for the sake of it, but because, you hear a bit here and a bit there and tips from different business, and quite quickly you can get pulled off your track. So, you've got a particular destination in mind. So that is, I think for most people, there's the baseline of the finances.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the obligations they have. I need to be able to meet those either through a job or through my own business. So if it's your own business, what is that? And so you can be meeting that target whilst not exactly meeting all the other goals that you had. So
this sounds horribly familiar. Obviously, I'm only one person with one person's experience, but I started in business when I was very young. And I had the idea that, hey, this is going to be getting up at lunchtime and doing my half hour of work and then just going to the pub or the skate park or whatever. I found out very early on that all the notes I'd made in preparation for starting the business, all my dreams, had just become, oh crap, I've got a VAT bill to pay, or oh my goodness, look at that tax bill on its horizon, and my mortgage has gone up. And it can make decisions that you have to face about your business very muddy.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is that kind of clarity of goals, but also clarity of also what I would say obligations or constraints. So you can have the goal to save the world, but you equally have a goal to pay your mortgage. And how do you find the alignment between those two places? But I think that's the first thing, is that we get pulled off track by not being really clear on our goal. So my visual is the destination map compass analogy.
Okay, no, I've not heard that. Tell me about that.
So if you know where you want to go, or broadly where you want to go, and you have a map or a compass, it's that kind of checking. Okay, am I closer today than I was yesterday to the place I want to go? Check the compass. Yes, I am. I know broadly it's in this direction. Maybe I don't know exactly where it is, but I know, to a wide enough degree the direction that I need to head in. And if you're not checking those things, it's so easy to get blown off course. So that's the kind of main thing that I say, is that kind of check in. Otherwise, you can find yourself, I don't know, you hear a good idea at a business mentoring meeting or a networking meeting, you think, oh, I'll do that. And then you add that, and you add little bits and pieces here and there. And all of a sudden you're serving a different goal. You're
It's
going,
a, it's
oh,
a it's a lethal thing. There is so much advice out there for business owners that it's almost like the trick is not to read it all. just
yeah,
just and
absolutely. Yeah.
I try and see it through a filter of the person presenting the advice. What are they trying to get out of it? And if they're just trying to sell their bit of software, that's fine. It doesn't matter what it is. But why are they doing it? And I'm not, well, I am old, but I'm not that old. But I have learned to partially treat business advice as other people airing their regrets. And I think that's why coaching is particularly interesting, because we're not going to go too far into coaching here. If, anyone who's watching or listening, if you want to speak to Emma about coaching, I highly advise you do. But that's where coaching's different, because it's not prescribing. It's not a set of rules.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's non-directive. So it's really about helping the person figure out what the right answer is for them. Because, you and I can talk all day long. I will still never understand everything that shapes you, all of your desires and goals, and just everything about you. You have the best answers for you. And really, the purpose of a coach is to help you get to that place, rather than, you know, I need a website. Okay, why? Lots of people, there's lots of tactics, and you kind of try and you pick up the tactics, but actually you really need to understand the why. And the first why is your own why. What are you in this game for?
So
Um,
that's great. So number one thing you need to
yes,
understand is getting clear on your goal. You need to understand your goals. Where are you pointing your ship? Just to carry on with the
yes.
nautical analogy there. So number two, what is number two, Emma? Sorry to interrupt the podcast, but I've got an offer for you. If you go to yeseo.io/audit, we'll give you a free audit of your website. Could be really good, could be really useful, could be the start of something really special. Oh no.
Number two is understanding. So then, with those goals in mind, understanding what bottlenecks or problems you might have in your business that are preventing you getting to that place. So quite often we'll treat the symptoms. So there'll be an issue, and I don't know, it's almost like swatting flies. You'll bat that one away, but fairly quickly there'll be another one along to kind of irritate you. You have to get underneath what's really causing that. Is it because you have, I don't know, a nice jam sandwich, and that's what they're attracted to?
That's so much more polite than what I was thinking.
Yes. So it's really like looking at what inefficiencies you might have in your business. Are you doing things manually that are, I guess, what I would call a breeding ground for errors? If you don't have systems and processes in place to support efficient running of the business, that can produce a lot of errors and inefficiencies, and reworking work that if you do it right the first time, you're not going back over. And then when you get into bigger groups, so maybe if you have a couple of people in your business that not everybody is aligned, so have you really clearly communicated where you're going, what you're doing, what the most important things are for your team to be working on? So how do they understand how to prioritize? So again, if we go with that moving forward, climbing, shipping analogy, it's like, are we all pulling in the same direction? And sometimes you presume you are, because of course you think, well, yeah, why wouldn't you be? But actually, quite quickly, people can have slightly different interpretations, and then you multiply that by a number of people, and all of a sudden we're kind of moving in 6 different directions rather than all kind of behind the same goal.
I can see that there's a relationship between this point about finding the causes of bottlenecks and clarity on the goal.
Yeah.
Both of them accept the fact that there's a lot of noise when you run a business.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on that are demanding your attention at all time, like where is that jam? And
Yes.
where is the flies? Jam bottleneck. Oh, I was almost going to try and squeeze a joke out of that, but I'll park number 2 there, and we're straight on to number 3. What is the third thing you must understand to get your business unstuck?
So I would say the third thing is to move from the doing to leadership.
Now tell me more.
So it's so easy to get stuck in the weeds, isn't it? You get into the detail, and you have to be across everything, and you want to ensure the quality, and you want to know what's going on. But therein lies your problem. You are the capacity of one. If you insist on doing everything, maybe micromanaging to an extent, then you are the bottleneck, essentially, to go back to the second point. And so you need to move out of that. And it's a classic bit of business advice, isn't it? Working in your business versus working on your business. But I guess it's one of those things that are, they're cliches for a reason. So the moving from doing to leadership. So are you in a place where you have the big picture view? Can you see everything that's going on? Or are you actually so busy doing that you're missing other things going on around? And so it's one of the hardest things to do. Yeah.
The use of the word leading or leadership completely changes where I've heard this, say, truism. Let's call it a truism rather than a cliche.
Yeah.
It completely changes that, because it adds in my mind at least, it adds an element of mindset.
Yeah.
So what I've had to learn to do is look at the task. The classic thing is, and again, it's just me, it's just one person's experience, but I'm not that unusual or unique. Other people, there are other people like me. You look at a list, right? These are all the mechanical things. These are all the doings. These are all the jobs, or the widgets that have got to be made, or whatever. This is the stuff that has to happen to start a process that has me invoicing somebody at the end of it. And the danger I find, and I did this a lot when I first got employees, is I'd look down the list and go, I can bat these out in a little while. This won't take me long. But what I found is that clouds my mindset. Because you go back to being trapped in the same way as you are in point 1, where you're saying about getting clear on your goal. That's difficult if you're busy making the widgets. And then number 2, finding the cause of the bottleneck. How often is the business leader the bottleneck?
To pluck figures out of the air, I'd say majority of the time.
Every single time.
Yes, let's not go with absolutes, but it's frequently, yes. The tone is set from the top. You set the direction and the way of the working and how people respond. Very often, it's probably the first place you should look, and it's typically the last place people look.
It's not very comfortable. It's getting it's getting challenging. But the leading, really not just the doing, it's the leading. It's This is quite exciting. This is the good stuff. I think this is the stuff that a lot of people get into business for in the first place, because they've had maybe terrible bosses who are just pulling them all over the place, and they don't know, I could do this. I know exactly what needs to happen. So I think that is a very nice way of putting it, Emma.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you're not allowing your team to get involved, you're not empowering them, you're not allowing them to learn, you're not allowing them to bring whatever, gifts and talents they have. So it's not just about you. It's also about, I guess, empowering people. So I think there's two aspects to it, two benefits to it. One, as a leader, you get the big picture view, but also then your team gets to have a greater sense of involvement and bring more, which is why you employ them in the first place.
Absolutely. So this is fantastic. This has already brought clarity in my own funny little brain. So if someone's listened to this for the last 15 minutes and if you wanted them to remember just one key point, one takeaway, obviously they should absorb it all. That goes without saying. But if they only had space on their notepad to write one thing, what would you want anyone listening or watching this to remember?
For me, it's always the clarity on your goal. Like, if you don't know where you're going, you can be busy going in any direction and you'll feel productive, but actually you're not going where you want to go. Yes, you are doing stuff, you are delivering output, but it doesn't get you further. So yeah, number one, you need to know where you're going. So
there you go, everyone. Remember Emma's wise words there. Remember where you're going. Okay, well, thank you very much, Emma. I hope to speak to you again soon.
Great, thanks very much.
So, thank you very much to Emma Steenson. How great was that? If your business is stuck, hopefully you've now got some good ideas to help you get unstuck. But we've danced around them a little bit in that episode, so I'm going to go back to the 3 things you need to have in your head, you need to understand, you need to take action on if your business is stuck. Number 1, checks his notes. Get clear on your goal. Number 2, checks his notes. Find the causes of your bottlenecks. Number 3, move from doing to leading. So there we go. Go find Emma Steenson on LinkedIn. I heartily recommend you do. She has a lot of very interesting ways that she can help pretty much anyone who's running a business. So go find out more about Emma's coaching. So only reminds me to say thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and my name's Andrew Laws. You've been watching and listening to the Business Amplifier. Go tell everyone you know.